Have you ever told yourself, I'll be happy when you finally get that dream job? When your bank account hits 6 figures? When you lose the weight, buy the house, get the recognition you deserve? But let me ask you this. What if that day never comes? What if you reach the top, achieve everything you ever wanted, and still feel empty? What if the happiness you're chasing is nothing more than a mirage, always just out of reach? Have you ever met someone who had it all, success, beauty, money, yet still felt completely lost? I want to tell you about a woman just like that. She spent her life running after everything the world told her would make her whole. But when she finally got it, she was left with a truth she never saw coming. Do you ever wonder why no matter how much you have, it never feels like enough? Why the more you achieve, the more restless you become? Could it be that we've been chasing the wrong things all along? What if the Bible has been telling us the answer this whole time? What if real peace, real joy, real fulfillment has nothing to do with what you have, but everything to do with something far greater? Stay with me, because about 10 minutes, I'm going to show you a truth that could set you free. A truth that could save you years of disappointment. A truth that took one woman a lifetime to learn. But for you, it might only take this video. Are you ready? Let's begin. Through all the stories I've heard, through all the voices filled with longing, doubt, and regret, one story has never left me. A story of a woman who spent her entire life reaching for something just out of grasp. She believed, like so many of us, that just one more thing would finally make her feel whole. One more achievement, one more milestone, one more sign that she mattered. Her name was Sophia. From the time she was a little girl, Sophia felt like she was never enough. She wasn't the smartest. She wasn't the prettiest. She wasn't the one people gravitated toward. She grew up believing that if she wanted to be seen, if she wanted to be loved, she had to earn it. And so, she set out on a journey, one that would consume her for years. She chased success. She told herself that if people knew her name, if they applauded her, if she walked into a room and turned heads, she would finally feel important. She worked tirelessly, sacrificing everything, pushing herself past exhaustion. And when she finally made it, when her name was printed, when strangers recognized her, she waited for the feeling. It never came. So she turned to beauty. Maybe if she was perfect, maybe if she looked a certain way, she would be chosen, she would be wanted. She counted every calorie. She reshaped her body. She became what the world called desirable. And when people noticed, when she saw admiration in their eyes, she braced herself, waiting for that moment of peace, that moment when she would finally feel worthy. But it never came. So she turned to money. Maybe if she had enough, she would feel safe. Maybe wealth would silence the fear, the anxiety, the endless need for more. She earned. She spent. She built a life that looked perfect from the outside. Yet every night, she lay awake, still searching, still restless, still empty. Year after year, she chased things that never filled her soul. And she's not alone. How many of us have done the same? How many of us have told ourselves, if I could just get there, then I'll be happy? How many of us have reached the finish line, only to realize it wasn't what we thought it would be? What if we've been chasing the wrong things all along? What if what we really need has been waiting for us somewhere else entirely? Stay with me, because this story is just beginning. What do you see in her story? Do you see yourself? Do you see the endless striving, the constant reaching, the belief that just one more thing will finally bring peace? Maybe you've spent years building, achieving, proving, only to find that no matter how much you have, something still feels missing. Maybe you've told yourself, once I get there, I'll finally be at peace. But what if there doesn't exist? Sophia's story isn't unique. It's our story, the story of a world that teaches us to chase what will never satisfy. A world that whispers, you'll be enough when you succeed. You'll be loved when you're perfect. You'll be safe when you have more. But is that really true? Or have we been caught in a lie? One that keeps us running but never arriving? The truth has always been there, written in words we've heard but perhaps never truly understood. Jesus himself asked, What good is it for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? Mark 8 verse 36. He wasn't speaking to the rich alone. He was speaking to all of us, to the ones who believe that the answer is just beyond their reach. Jesus asked a question that cuts deeper than any sword. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? Mark 8 verse 36. We've heard this verse before. Maybe we nodded, maybe we agreed, but have we truly understood what it means? Have we stopped to ask ourselves, what is my soul worth? What am I exchanging for it? Sophia chased success, believing it would make her feel whole. She thought that if people knew her name, if she became somebody, she would finally have peace. But no matter how high, isn't that what the world does to us? It tells us, keep going, you're almost there. It dangles happiness like a prize just out of reach. But once we grasp it, it slips through our fingers. So we try again. A bigger house, a better job, more influence, more followers, more approval. We believe that one day will arrive. One day we'll finally feel complete. But Jesus warned us. He told us that we could have everything, wealth, power, admiration, and still lose the one thing that truly matters. Our soul. And what is our soul? It's the deepest part of us. The part created for eternity. The part that longs for something greater than this world. The part that cannot be filled with temporary things. The world says, your worth is in what you achieve. But God says, your worth is in me. The world says, you have to prove yourself. But God says, I have already chosen you. The world says, you will be loved when you are successful. But God says, I have loved you since before you were born. So let me ask you, what are you chasing? Have you gained the world, but lost yourself? Have you been running towards something that was never meant to satisfy you? Because here's the truth. Your soul is worth more than anything this world can offer. And only one can fill the emptiness inside. Only one can give you peace that never fades. His name is Jesus, and he's been waiting for you all along. Sophia believes something that so many of us have been taught. If I look a certain way, if I'm beautiful, if I'm desirable, then I will be loved. She spent years chasing an image, sculpting her body, changing herself to fit a standard that the world told her would bring happiness. But did it? No matter how much weight she lost, no matter how many compliments she received, she still doubted herself. Am I good enough now? She would ask. But the answer never came, because the love she was searching for could never be earned through appearance. It could never be found in a mirror. And isn't that the lie we've all been told? The world says, you'll be loved when you are beautiful. But what does God say? Open book, we love because he first loved us. En yon fida niton. God's love has never been based on how we look. It's not something we have to earn. It's not given to the most beautiful, the most perfect, the most admired. His love was there before we even took our first breath. It was there before we ever tried to be worthy. But the world doesn't tell us that. It tells us we need to fix ourselves. More makeup, a smaller waist, smoother skin. But the more we try, the emptier we feel. Because our worth was never in the reflection staring back at us. Your beauty does not define you. Your weight does not determine your value. Your wrinkles do not lessen your worth. You were loved, chosen, cherished, long before the world told you otherwise. And you still are. Money was never the answer. Sophia believed what so many of us have been told. If I have enough money, I will finally feel safe. So she worked. She saved. She spent. She built a life that looked successful. A life filled with comfort, security, luxury. Yet, no matter how much she had, the fear never left. What if she lost it? What if it wasn't enough? What if everything she built disappeared overnight? So she kept going. More income, more investments, more things to prove she was secure. But deep down, she knew the truth. There was never going to be enough. Because money was never meant to give her peace. And isn't that what we all struggle with? The fear that if we don't have enough, we won't be okay? That if we don't control every dollar, our future will fall apart? But what does God say about this? Open book, whoever trusts in riches will fall. but the righteous will thrive like a green leaf. Proverbs 11 verse 28. God never said money was evil. He never said we shouldn't work hard, provide, or plan wisely. But he did warn us, don't trust it to save you. Because it won't. It never has. We see it all the time. Millionaires who are anxious. Billionaires who are restless. People with overflowing bank accounts, yet hearts weighed down by fear. Because money was never meant to be our foundation. It was never meant to replace God. The truth? Safety doesn't come from numbers in a bank account. Peace doesn't come from financial success. True security comes from trusting the one who never changes. The one who provides, even in the storm. Because when everything else fades, he remains. And in him we lack nothing. Sophia thought she had time. Time to figure things out. Time to keep chasing, keep striving, keep searching for what would finally make her feel whole. But then, she met people who had already lived a lifetime. People who had spent decades running the same race. And suddenly, she saw something she never expected. Some of them had everything: money, home, success. Yet, they were bitter, lonely, afraid of what came next. Others had little. Their bodies were frail, their bank accounts empty. But their hearts? Their hearts were full of joy, peace, gratitude. Why? Because the ones who were truly alive had never put their hope in things that fade. They had discovered what so many people miss, the secret to a life well lived. A secret that's been written in Scripture all along. Open book, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Isaiah 40 verse 31. These people weren't clinging to their youth. They weren't chasing what the world said mattered. They had spent their lives walking with God. And because of that, even as their bodies grew old, their spirits remained strong. They were not afraid of time. They were not afraid of what they could lose. Because their hope was never in this world. It was in the one who reigns forever. How many of us are still afraid? Still running from the truth? Still trying to hold on to what will eventually slip through our fingers? But what if we let go? What if, instead of fearing time, we trusted the one who holds time? What if we stopped chasing what fades and started investing in what lasts? Because in the end, only one thing will remain. And it is not our money, not our status, not even our legacy. It is Him. It has always been Him. True freedom is not found in this world. Sophia spent years trapped in a cycle of striving. She believed that if she worked harder, looked better, earned more, she would finally feel free. Free from fear. Free from insecurity. Free from the feeling that she wasn't enough. But no matter what she achieved, freedom never came. Because real freedom isn't found in a number on a scale. It isn't found in a job title, a dollar amount, or the approval of others. Real freedom isn't something we earn. It's something we receive. Open book. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. 2 Corinthians 3 verse 17. The world tells us that freedom is about control. Controlling how we look, how much we have, what people think of us. But God tells us something different. He tells us that freedom isn't found in holding on, but in letting go. Letting go of fear. Letting go of guilt. Letting go of the pressure to be perfect. Think about it. How many of us are still held captive? Held captive by our past, by our mistakes, by the need to prove ourselves, by the fear of what happens if we fail. But Jesus didn't come to make our lives look better from the outside. He came to break chains. He came to set captives free. And freedom isn't found in success. It's not found in beauty, money, or status. It's found in surrender. It's found in trusting that no matter what happens, no matter what the world says, you are already enough. Because you belong to Him. And in Him, you are free. Sophia had everything: success, beauty, wealth. She had reached every milestone she set for herself. And yet, something was still missing. A quiet ache, a lingering emptiness, a question she couldn't escape. Is this all there is? She tried to ignore it. She tried to convince herself she had everything she had ever wanted. But deep down she knew, no achievement, no relationship, No amount of money had filled the void inside her. And isn't that the truth so many of us have faced? We get what we thought would bring happiness, but the feeling doesn't last. There's always another goal, another level, another next step we believe will finally make us complete. But the Bible tells us something different. Open book, Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst." John 4:13-14. What does that mean? It means that everything this world offers will leave us thirsty. No matter how much we drink, whether it's success, approval, security, it will never be enough. Because we weren't made to be filled by temporary things. The only thing that can truly satisfy us is Jesus, His love, His presence, His promise that we are already enough in Him. So let me ask you, what have you been drinking? What have you been chasing, believing it would satisfy you? Because the truth is, you don't need to run anymore. You don't need to search anymore. The missing piece, the thing your soul has been longing for, has never been in this world. It's been in Him, and it's been waiting for you all along. Sophia spent her life chasing destinations. She thought happiness was waiting at the finish line, on the other side of success, beauty, love, and wealth. But no matter how many finish lines she crossed, another one always appeared. The goal kept moving. The peace never lasted. And isn't that how so many of us live? We tell ourselves, I'll be happy when, but when the moment comes, the joy fades. The victory doesn't satisfy. The satisfaction slips through our fingers. That's because life was never about reaching a destination. It was always about the journey. Open book, we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. God never promised that we would find peace in reaching our goals. He never said joy would come from status, from approval, from arriving. He called us to walk by faith, to trust along the way. But the world tells us something different. It tells us we need to arrive, that we need to prove something, that we need to become someone before we can rest. But what if you don't have to wait? What if peace isn't on the other side of success? What if fulfillment isn't something you achieve, but something you receive? Right here, right now. Because the truth is, the journey is the destination. Every step, every struggle, every lesson, it all matters. And when we walk with God, when we trust Him through every season, we find something the world can never give. We find peace. We find purpose. We find that we were never walking alone. Tell me, what are you still chasing? What are you still hoping will make you whole? Another success? More money? The approval of others? Have you finally found what you've been searching for? Or do you still feel that emptiness inside? Because here's the truth. Everything you've been longing for has never been in this world. It's never been in a title, a number, a reflection in the mirror. It's never been something you could earn. It's always been in Him, in the one who formed you, the one who loved you before you even knew His name, the one who has been waiting for you to come home. Open book, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Aren't you tired? Tired of running? Tired of trying to prove yourself? Tired of believing the lie that one more thing will finally make you feel enough? You don't have to wait anymore. You don't have to search anymore. The peace you've been craving, the love your heart aches for, it's already here. And all you have to do is say yes to Him. Because one day, all of this, everything will fade. The money, the status, the accomplishments, none of it will matter when you stand before Him. What will matter is one thing. Did you know Him? So today, right now, make the choice that will last for eternity. Lay it all down. Give your life to the only one who can save it. And if you're ready, if your heart is crying out for Him, tell Him, Lord, I need you. I choose you. I surrender everything to you. Because heaven is waiting and He is calling your name.